I was on vacation this past weekend and I came back a day earlier just because it's the NFL trade deadline. And when I woke up today, for the first hour, I kind of looked at my watch and said, all right, looks like it's going to be another slow trade deadline. Nobody's on the move. I look like an idiot for my trade predictions video. But then, right as I was about to get my lazy ass up and go to the gym, we got some breaking freaking news on the face of a franchise for the past decade being traded to a championship contender. So before we get to the content, these casual t-shirts are finally live on my website, Mikerophone.org. They are the perfect gift to purchase for somebody that believes the Los Angeles Rams are screwed because they don't have enough NFL draft picks in the future. And of course, if you could take a moment to sack the like button for the YouTube algorithm, consider subscribing and turning on our notifications. That'd be very much appreciated as well. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? After starting the season off on a 3-game winning streak, the Denver Broncos kind of came crashing down to earth following a 4-game losing streak until they finally were able to beat the Washington football team yesterday 17-10. And even though I guess you could say things are looking up for the Broncos, which would be 8-8 in any other season, but looks like they're probably going to be trending towards 8-9 territory this season or 9-8 territory this season, depending how the rest of the season shakes out. It looks like the Denver Broncos have either accepted the reality of their fate and their situation, or they're just doing their old buddy Von Miller. That was definitely one of the main factors responsible for them winning a Super Bowl in the past decade. Of course, you can't forget about Peyton Manning on the offensive side of the field, and of course, Adam Gase being the offensive coordinator of that team.
Stay off the weed.
But it looks like the Denver Broncos are going to go ahead and do a solid for their franchise cornerstone and ship him off somewhere nice for the tail end of his career, because according to Adam Schefter, we woke up this morning and got news that we are getting a blockbuster trade. The Denver Broncos are finalizing a trade to send 8-time Pro Bowl linebacker Von Miller to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for 2 second-day 2022 NFL draft picks, league sources tell ESPN. Von Miller is now saying his goodbyes to his friends in the Broncos training facility. Look at how generous this trade is, because this is pretty much a donation to the LA Rams at this point. As part of the trade, the Broncos are paying $9 million of Von Miller's remaining $9.7 million salary, and Von Miller will be making his LA Rams debut on Sunday Night Football versus the Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans. First of all, what's happening to Derrick Henry? Very unfortunate. We got word earlier today that the Tennessee Titans are working out Adrian Peterson to potentially replace Derrick Henry for the remainder of the season, but that's a player that is very difficult to replace, absolutely irreplaceable. That is the engine of the Tennessee Titans, although the Titans are a very good team. It's really unfortunate that Derrick Henry's going out with a season-ending injury, even though there's players like Todd Gurley on the market as well. But I digress. What's going on over here is the Denver Broncos pretty much know that there's no point in keeping around Von Miller. There's no point in keeping around his gigantic salary, and it's a salary that is going to be expiring following this year. And the chances that Von Miller returns to the Denver Broncos for his age 33 season, his 11th season in the NFL, is very slim to none. And it's nothing against the Denver Broncos, it's just Von Miller is entering that age where he's already made a significant amount of money throughout his career. We're talking about $120 million throughout his entire career. Bear in mind, this is the number 2 overall pick in the 2011 NFL draft, following Cam Newton. So no matter what, afterwards, he's probably going to be jumping ship to a contender. In this case, the Denver Broncos at least are going to get some late round draft compensation from a team that is very, very happy to give up draft picks at any point, and that's the LA Rams. This is a team that is is famous for not really caring about their draft picks, and now they add a player that is 3 seasons removed from double-digit sack seasons onto a defensive line that features Aaron Donald and supplementing him with players like Jalen Ramsey as well. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Of course, Von Miller now is nothing like the Von Miller of yesterday. He still has 4.5 sacks on the season, which is really freaking good. This could be yet another double-digit sack season for Von Miller, but the fact that you don't have to really give up much for this guy, and you're gonna have him on the edge while Aaron Donald is going to be consuming double teams consistently, is absolutely terrifying for opposing quarterbacks to go up against. That will decimate any average to above average offensive line, and that will definitely give the explosive LA Rams offense enough of a cushion to pull out wins in their games. I'm a huge fan of the LA Rams style. From the very beginning, they have been all in. They've been betting on themselves. They've been all or nothing. It seems like each and every year they believe that, hey, this is our window of opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Whether it was when Jared Goff was their quarterback and they shipped 2 first-round picks to bring in Jalen Ramsey, or right now when they're picking up a player like Von Miller, shipping out late round draft picks in order to add additional help to their defensive line. Obviously, this is an absolutely risk-free move for the LA Rams, and this is practically a donation by the Denver Broncos. I don't think late round draft picks typically make the difference in any team, but I guess in this case, the Broncos knew that they were going to lose Von Miller anyways. They might as well trade Von Miller to a nice place, send him off to a great team for him to potentially close his career with, or of course, if it doesn't work out, maybe Von Miller is going to hit free agency and sign with a different team at the conclusion of this season. Now, Broncos fans, do your best not to be super upset about this, because securing a day 2 draft pick pretty much means that you are going to get 2nd round picks and 3rd round picks in return for a superstar player whose best years are clearly behind him. Von Miller is coming off of an injury very recently and missed the 2020 season as a result of his injury. Getting a couple 2nd and 3rd round picks, although it doesn't sound super exciting at the time that we're making this video, can go a long way in trying to catalyze a rebuild, which is what the Denver Broncos are going through currently, especially considering their quarterback situation. I consider 2nd and 3rd round picks being additional darts to throw at the dartboard, or an additional turn at the crapshoot that is the NFL draft. And considering the fact that this team has yet to hit on a quarterback prospect yet, additional picks would do them a lot more better than an aging Von Miller would do for them, especially considering the fact that Von Miller would probably leave the Denver Broncos at the conclusion of this season, unless if the Broncos broke the bank to retain him, which I don't really see them doing. Either way, this is an A+ for the LA Rams. Are you kidding me? You're picking up Von freaking Miller and you're adding him to Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and you're just giving up late round draft picks in order to do so. Obviously, an already terrifying defensive line is going to get better, and for the Denver Broncos, it's just a very classy move to do by an organization that is clearly headed for a rebuild. I'm sure Vic Fangio isn't necessarily the biggest fan of this move, but what are you gonna do? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're a Broncos fan, how are you feeling about this? And if you're a Rams fan, how excited are you? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.